Well, 2020, it's been one hell of a year. You've heard me say that before, and I will recall back in the year 2020 and say that again, and something that you all probably said before yourselves. Uh, Unusual certainly seems to describe 2020 very well if one's trying to be charitable about 2020. How can you be charitable about 2020 when you have a coronavirus and you have an inept two-party system that basically shit on the American people? Now, 2020, we have an election in a couple of days, and we honestly don't know how it's going to turn out. Right now, a conventional wisdom says Joe Biden should be winning this election. And I think that it's a safe assumption that he could very well win this thing. Um, but it is not guaranteed. Just so many factors in this thing, and once it's finally figured out, we're going to look back and say, "Oh, well, we should have known all this and that," and yeah, my goodness, if we could have pieced this piece of the puzzle together, we would have known how everything turned out. We really don't know what the next couple of days is going to bring. I mean, it's not going to be decided that evening. What am I going to do? I go to work the night before because I work a graveyard shift. When I leave work in the morning, I'm going to go and vote first thing because I am the kind of person that votes on election day. It's basically a civil liturgy of mine, so to speak. It's what I do. I'm for voting early. I'm for making it accessible as possible for people. But I am by tradition, I am bounded by tradition to uh, to vote on election day. It's just what I do. But we don't know how this thing's going to turn out. So I'm going to vote. I'm going to go home, go to sleep. I got the dental appointment that I have to have that afternoon at 3:30. I'm going to do that. I'm going to have dinner, and then afterwards, I'm going to have a bottle of wine, and I am going to be in a little conference with some people, live streaming this on Facebook and on YouTube. That's my plan. So y'all coming back around here, perhaps on Tuesday night. You see me a little bit buzz, and I'll be talking about this shit. But anyway, we don't know what the election results is going to be. But once it happens, I mean, that night we're not going to know. We're not going to know probably for being very generous to say it might be a week at the very earliest before we know, and I don't think it's going to happen. I think you're going to have a team of lawyers on both sides. The Democrats and the Republicans are going to have a team of lawyers, and they're going to sit there, point fingers at each other, and everything. That's what's going to happen. Um, and as I said, there's all kinds of scenarios that we don't know about. Mail-in ballots. Um, Honestly, cheating on both sides. I do believe that both parties do cheat. While we have a two-party system to begin with, it's been a lot of manipulation and a lot of cheating. And and you look at the two-party system. Democrats, I mean Republicans find a way to prevent minorities from voting. Maybe they're not necessarily, well, some of them don't do it because they're racist. They're just power hungry. Some of them do it because they're racist. And then with Democrats, they go and fuck around in the primaries and make damn sure that a progressive doesn't get the nomination for a congressional race or a senatorial race or a presidential race, i.e., 2016, 2020. Um, so that's what's going on. Um, as I said, now what happens when it's all said and done? When Joe Biden is either sworn in or Donald Trump is sworn in January. And it could very well be that it might not even be resolved then. It may be in the Supreme Court, it'll be decided, which kind of just irritates me that Amy Coney Barrett was confirmed. But anyway, um, we don't know how this shit's going to turn out. I just know that it's going to be 20, the year 2000, Florida on a national scale times 1,000. I know there's going to be civil unrest, and I hope there will not be on anybody's side. I do not want anybody getting hurt over this shit. But that's what's going to happen. You're going to see friendships break up. You're going to see a lot of people getting pissed off with each other on social media. You'll see people on both sides and both parties, or both sides of the spectrum, roughly speaking, unfriending each other on social media because they don't like the fact one person voted third party, or they don't like that their friend voted for the opposing candidate in that election. And I'm talking about all sides, because I know in 2016, I got a lot of shit for voting for Jill Stein. And I'm not sorry I voted for Jill Stein. I'm not sorry. It's the Democrats' downfall for nominating a piece of shit like Hillary Clinton. I would never apologize for that. Yes, Donald Trump is a piece of shit, but so is Hillary Clinton. And it boggles my mind why even some progressives get a little uptight when Hillary Clinton is criticized. She played a role in Republicanizing the Democratic Party. She and her husband Reaganized the Democratic Party in the late 80s and throughout the 1990s. Get that through your mind. But anyway, speaking of which, the two parties are going to have a civil war amongst themselves. Yeah, there's been a civil war in the Democratic Party from the late 80s, early 90s on to about 2016. Groups like the Democratic Leadership Council, the Blue Dog Coalition, the New Democrat Network, groups like that have played a role in shifting the Democratic Party to the right. They don't like to look at themselves that way, but in essence, that is what happened. As I said, they moved away. I mean, Bill Clinton enthusiastically moved the party away from the FDR New Deal consensus that was the Democratic Party, and it was something that was so successful that even Republicans pretty much accepted it after World War II, up until the time of Ronald Reagan. Well, the Democratic Party started shifting toward the right by supporting global corporately managed trade agreements, basically declaring war on unions, just as badly as the Republicans, giving us shitty healthcare plans that's basically keeps the insurance companies in existence. Enthusiastically supporting things like the Biden crime bill of 1994, which expanded the death penalty and did the three strikes you're out, and also kind of paved way toward private prisons. We have a prison industrial complex going on as well. And the Democrats has been just as complicit and awful as the Republicans on the drug war, everything like that. So, the Democratic Party by the 1990s moved to the right and became pretty much, something that's to the right of the Rockefeller Republicans of the 1960s and 1970s. And that was then. Now, today in 2020, the Democratic Party is basically moderate Republicans of the 1980s and 1990s. I mean, basically, the Democratic Party is pretty much, Colin Powell, John Kasich, Christine Todd Whitman in the 80s and 90s could fit very well into today's Democratic Party. That's where a lot of never Trumpers and corporate Democrats kind of meet. But anyway, so Bernie Sanders came in 2016 to put a stop to this third way nonsense, and it's been a civil war going on inside since then, and exists to this day. And a lot of corporate Democrats hate that Bernie Sanders came in. I'm glad. I am glad. Because it could lead to good things down the road. Corporate Democrats, get the fuck out of the way. Get the fuck out of the way. Republicans have a civil war as well. When Obama won, a lot of them went ape shit, and I'm not saying everybody in the Tea Party, but with quite a number of people, their closeted racism came out. I don't mean, once again, I have to say this, as I say it before, I don't mean that she opposed a tax increase on the wealthy, or if you doubt global warming, or if you don't support the Affordable Care Act, which, by the way, to anybody who's a Tea Party or listening to this or a Trump supporter, the Obamacare was actually a Republican plan created by the Heritage Foundation in the early 1980s, and that is where it came from, and Obamacare is not even remotely close to socialism. But anyway, the Tea Party movement came along, and as I said, whether they were racist or they were just partisan hacks who hated anything that's Democratic Party oriented, they were knee jerk, and they not only opposed Obama, but they went and challenged what they perceived as rhino Republicans were moderates within the primaries, and the Republican Party moved further and further and further to the right. Enter Donald Trump in the year 2015, 2016, as he came in as an outsider. And I have a conspiracy theory about the Bill and Hillary Clinton connection to Donald Trump running. I believe that Donald Trump was prompted to run by the Clintons to disrupt the Republican Party from within, to fracture the Republican Party from within, to make it easier for Hillary Clinton to win. But I think somewhere along the way, Donald Trump was like, fuck this shit. I can become president. And I believe that's what happened right there. So Donald Trump became president. And until COVID hit, it looked like nothing could bring him down. Russiagate, of course, I never believed in Russiagate. To me, the Russiagate for the Democrats, it was for the Democrats what birthers were for the conspiratorial right-wing Republicans. You know, the birther thing where they claim Obama was a secret Kenyan Muslim born outside the United States to destroy the West. That was their conspiracy theory, and they were wrong. And the Democrats, the resistance, were just as wrong with their Russia Gate, Russia collusion, Vladimir Putin controlling Donald Trump. Both of them were wrong. But anyway, Donald Trump came in, and he governed pretty much as a standard right-wing Republican, even though he campaigned as an unconventional Republican. And as he campaigned as a unconventional Republican, got sworn in, and almost right away, he governed pretty much as a Republican from the Bush Cheney era. There were some things that might have been a little bit different, and I would even argue that George W. Bush and Dick Cheney were worse than Donald Trump. And some progressives looked at me asking, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But I do know what I'm talking about. Very few good things that Donald Trump wanted to do, he has an establishment that don't want him to do these things, like less interventionism, for example. And the military-industrial complex, which the deep state runs from, is controlled by both parties and things like that. But he's been pretty much a corporatist whore through and through, and on cultural issues, he's been really horrendous. I know he's socially moderate himself on some of these issues. And believe me, he don't give a flying fuck about abortion and gay marriage and the whole issue. I mean, he's now campaigning he's saying he's no longer a Presbyterian, and he's now a born again fundamentalist non-denominational Christian. Please, Donald Trump is not. I wouldn't even be surprised if Donald Trump is a closeted atheist. Okay. But anyway, when I hear people on the Trump side thinking Donald Trump is a godly man and he prays to the Lord, please, really? I mean, I don't like Trump, but the fact that Trump is not religious might be one of his better points, because if he was a religious nutcase like Mike Pence, I would really, really be scared. But anyway, getting back to what I was going to say. So Donald Trump is in trouble because of COVID. He handled it badly, and he, people died because of his not taking the leadership and basically making it stressing its under importance and not stressing the importance that needed to be stressed. Now, having that said, with regard to how he handled it, I'm not letting the Democrats off the hook. They didn't handle it right either. So I mean, we have a government that's really not accountable to the people, and we're talking about both parties. Now, what this could mean for both parties, because honestly, you look at both parties. I mean, the Democrats are in trouble because hello, the Democrats are in trouble because the civil war going on between the corporate Democrats and the movement led by Bernie Sanders and company. And the Republicans are in trouble because you have the never Trumper Republicans, the establishment Republicans, the neocons, the garden variety Republicans that existed versus the Trump crowd too, the MAGA, the MAGA Trumpist people. And so the two factions of the both parties don't get along well with each other. Now, it could be good in the sense that with regard to well, let's talk about Republicans first because while I am critical of both parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, I am more critical of the Republicans, even though the Democrats are garbage in their way. Republicans are even bigger garbage for the obvious reasons. And I do not mean every individual person who is a Republican, and and I'm talking about people who are like my next door neighbors, or people who I work with, or associate with, or friends and everything. I have friends from all walks of life. So when I dump on the Republicans, I'm not dumping on the individual, but I'm dumping on the ideology, the overall ideology, and the politics of Republicans. So would I love to see the Republican Party split apart? Absolutely. Donald Trump might be the catalyst for that happening because you see, you have even the never Trumpers love what Donald Trump's have done in terms of governing. They just don't like his style. They don't like his mean tweets. They don't like his no filters. They don't like his shoot by the hip. They just think he's raw and he's savage and he's uncouth and unprecedented. And honestly, and I'm paraphrasing, and I should not paraphrase other social media people because I need to do this channel on my own, but it's relevant. Just recently, Kyle Kalinske talked about when Ben Shapiro talking about the things he doesn't like about Trump, why he's going to support Trump anyway. And what he said about Ben Shapiro is that Kyle Kalinske said, the thing about Donald Trump is Ben Shapiro. The things that Ben Shapiro hates about Donald Trump are things that I actually like about Donald Trump. And I'm sort of in the same boat. Don't like Trump on the policies, but damn, he's comic relief. But he is destructive in the long run for the Republican Party. Even if they like him on their policies, they don't like him in their style. They don't like that. They don't like the populism. They don't like that. They want a politician with the demeanor of Mitt Romney. They want a politician, decorum policing. They want somebody who smiles in front of a camera with a good head of hair and wears their suit and tie just right, and as our government bombed the shit out of brown people in the Middle East, and as our country put immigrants in cages, and Trump is at fault for it, but the news is so was Obama. It goes all around. This whole thing that's happened. Here's the thing. The right wing loves Donald Trump on these issues. They just don't like his style. And so you're going to see the Republican Party probably split apart over style versus, style and substance. You're going to have ones that wants to be polite pieces of shit, and then you're going to have others that wants to be, asshole, nasty pieces of shit. And you could see a split. And how would the Republican Party split? Well, I would like to think that the Rand Pauls of the Republican Party, who are terrible on economics, because I don't like libertarian economics. I'm socially libertarian, don't like the economics. Um, the Rand Paul types could go into the Libertarian Party, and then you got the religious nuts like Ted Cruz, and Ted Cruz could tiptoe into the Constitutional Party, and then your bland establishment Republicans, your Jeb Bush, your Mitt Romneys, people like celebrities like Megan McCain and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and just your garden variety Republicans, Lindsey Graham, just you name it. These Republicans, they what's her name? The one from Susan Collins from Maine, I believe that's where she's from. These Republicans can stay as Republicans, and they could be kind of an equivalent to the Conservative Party in Great Britain or in Canada, where they're kind of secular and sane, but you know, terrible policies. But they will probably still be slightly to the right of the Conservative Party of Canada or the Conservative Party of Great Britain, but they would not. They still would not be all that insane. Or the Republican Party could dissolve, and they go and join in with the Democrats, or the Democrats could dissolve, and maybe some moderate conservative party could be established, or an American Tory party that can fit in Mitt Romney and Hillary Clinton. That's there you go. And in the Democratic Party with Bernie Sanders' wing and the AOCs and all these people who are fighting the good fight against the Bill and Hillary Clinton people, the Barack Obama people, the people like people like Dianne Feinstein and all of these folks, all these fuckers that have shifted the Democratic Party to the right since the 1990s in their own way. They can be friends with those moderate Republicans and have a center party. They might as well call themselves not the Tory Party, call themselves the American Bland Stand for Nothing Party. They'll come up with a clever name. And the AFL-CIO and organize labor, the social justice activists, the left wing of the party, the disenfranchised, the working class could do what they did in Canada and have the New Democratic Party, or in Great Britain, the British Labour Party, minus Tony Blair and his crowd, have. And this country could have a freaking Labor Party. You can call it the People's Party. You can call it the Labor Party. I prefer Labor Party. You could call it the Social Democratic Party. You can call it the Progressive Party. Of course, we've had a tradition of having various progressive parties. Progressive Party of the Bull Moose Party of Theodore Roosevelt, Robert La Follette's 1924 reform. Progressive Party, and 1948 Henry Wallace, not George Wallace in 1968, but former Vice President Henry Wallace, who had the short-lived Progressive Party. Now, I want to model this party after the New Democratic Party of Canada, which used to be called Cooperative Commonwealth Federation. And that is kind of my model, because I do not think that this Labor Party that I would love to see replace the Democrats. I don't think they're going to be quite as successful as the British Labour Party or the Socialist Party in France or the Social Democrats in Germany. But I could see them occupying the same spot as the NDP in Canada, which would be pretty good, because whatever mushy center party that exists, this labor entity can shift the Overton window toward the left. So and we could be like Canada, because I would like for the United States to be like Canada. The old American dream that used to exist a long time ago, that's gone. It still exists. It exists in Canada. Doesn't exist in the United States anymore. Not that I'm saying that Canada doesn't have any problems, but very fewer problems than what we got. But anyway, so all this is going to happen when we have electoral forms. The Electoral College needs to go. And I hear Republicans getting worried about if we get rid of the electoral college, the Republicans would never win another election again. I think that if we get rid of the electoral college, we will never see another Republican or Democrat again. We might actually have competition. We might actually, that way these conflicting special interests in both parties will split apart because they're no longer fear of the collective on the other side, and vice versa. And and I think that there will be a healthy swing. Pendulum will be swinging healthily, center left and center right, with coalition governments, and the culture war won't be as polarizing, believe it or not. I mean, when you have Democrats bunched together and Republicans bunched together, it's so easy to strawman each other's side and everything. And I think that could actually think that you might see a more civil society as a result if we had more than two parties. And getting rid of the electoral college is the first step. I would favor political fusion, or proportional representation, but that's what I would favor. I'm getting a little long-winded here, but let me just say this, and in conclusion, if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris win, and even though I'm voting for Howie Hawkins of the Green Party, do I look at Joe Biden as the lesser evil? Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I don't like Joe Biden, but I don't like Donald Trump either. And I think that here's the thing: if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris wins, they better adopt as many of Bernie Sanders' ideas and proposals as possible. If not, and I said this in a previous commentary, if we get back to fucking normal, and I have my concerns that the new normal will be something like Obama at his most conservative and Bush and Cheney at their most liberal combined in a Biden Harris administration. I unfortunately think that we're going to see Republicans appointed into Biden's cabinet as payback for supporting them, as payback for basically the Democratic Party telling the left wing to fuck off, and the Democrats embracing the softer side of the Never Trumper movement. So, but here's the thing: if Joe Biden wins, we better see labor law reforms. That means either getting rid of right to work or having the Employee Free Choice Act, what's called card check, in the system. That at least if we can get rid of right to work, it can undermine right to work with the card check. Minimum wage. I'm probably the most optimistic that we will see a $15 hour minimum wage. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think that could very well happen under Biden. But here's what really needs to be done. We need Medicare for all, single payer health care. What at a minimum, what they do in Canada, and ultimately what they do in Great Britain. We need a Green New Deal, and that could be tied in with federal jobs guarantees, and in a trade agreement that protects workers' rights and protects the environment. Free college, again, a no-brainer. We could see these things, but here's the thing: if Biden and Harris come in there and they do what a lot of Democrats like to do like Bill Clinton did, and what Barack Obama's done in the past, and they do a lot of micromanaging, overreach without actually doing something about it, where it results in the dark side of the nanny state without the actual nanny. Um, the Republicans are going to come right back stronger than ever 2 years later. Um, that's what's going to happen. So Biden better deliver something tangible that doesn't annoy the average American. Give us, in other words, I'm not going to apologize. Give free stuff and don't make it bureaucratic. And you're going to get the support of the American people, and you can put the Republican Party out of business permanently if you do that. But if Biden engages in micromanaging and corporatism and all that shit, We're going to see Republicans coming back, and we'll see another repeat of 2016, but with a worse Trump. In 2024, we could be faced with Tom Cotton of Arkansas, one of the worst senators in the country right now, who makes Ted Cruz look like Elizabeth Warren by comparison. Tom Cotton could become our next president, and nothing frightens me more. So that's what I got to say right now. I'm a little long winded, but I had to speak my piece. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you were triggered, well, I'm sorry, but comment anyway. Please feel free to share the content on this channel. If you have if you have, if you're passionate about something and you want to express it through social media, and you already have a platform, use it, or create it and use it and utilize it, because we're all the muckrakers of our time. And most importantly, subscribe to this channel. Help make this channel relevant. Help this channel grow. I am American social democracy. And until next time, peace and Bernie Sanders for president in the year 2024.